All right, let's just put it out simply. I came to non-duality. I heard it uh, in Berkeley in a park. The lady whose name was Neelam. She was from Eastern Europe. She spoke very low. I didn't hear a word she said, but it didn't matter. I sensed something. Then there was progress. The next weekend it was someone's house, so I went to see her again. And with the ceiling and walls, I heard her better, but that didn't matter. It just started something. Then, as things happened, one thing led to another, and then I ran into Tony Parsons, I think. The last time he came to America, he got mad or something, decided never to come back. But I saw him for a few days. And I remember he was presenting that there is absolutely no person, nothing. And that being the truth really rang something. But what happened is it rang and I reverberated for like a day or so. But then the head regrouped and claimed it. And then I was the one who, then I looked at I'm not a body as a body. It doesn't work. So then I went to see some other people, some I liked, some I didn't. There was a book I read, Who Cares, by Ramesh Balsekar. He was 85, so I figure that moved me. I mean, because it was like, when a German shepherd's trying to understand something, that the message of non-duality was like triggering my mental logic, just couldn't make sense out of it, which is the point. It moved me so much, I decided to go to Bombay by myself to see him, which I did, and stayed, heard him for a couple of days, about 12 days, something. Then I went to where Ramana Maharshi had lived, went to the cave there, and then there was all these satsangs, and it was very weird because I went to Ramana Maharshi's ashram, and I was going to stay there. And then they asked me, "Are you going to go to any of the other satsangs?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "You can't stay here." So all these pictures people had pictures of Ramana, and then the Ramana ashram was telling me they didn't want me if I was going to the satsangs. So a little bit strange. Yeah. So I got another room, and there was lots of ashrams there. Another room, and did that. Things were happening because this is what occurs, I feel. There's like a mental landscape, mountains and hills, and non-duality is like a yodel, yeah? And it triggers avalanches. And the mountains that you thought were mountains crumble, and you're left with a clear vista, yeah? So one of the first hits was, it was like an unspoken yes. I was listening to satsang. No one was paying any attention to any individual. It was just the space. Listen to satsang, and I felt like, yeah, it was like this was knowledge before knowledge. Yeah, and then these things started to occur. So there was rumblings, and then something that was like that I thought was firm ground would just collapse, and then I was free falling, and it was cool in a way. And I was constantly getting caught with my spiritual pants down, and I didn't try to pull the pants up. Yeah, and I just walked around the public square, the emperor with no clothes. So went to that. On the way back, I saw Ramesh, and Ramesh gave a talk. If you ever saw him, he's passed away now, so you're not going to see him. You see videos, I guess. Uh, I went back to see him, and no, the first time I went to see him, there would be someone downstairs, and they would greet you, and everyone had to wait till 9 o'clock, and then you could go upstairs and then go in the room. It was like this living room, yeah. And so the guys that was sort of there all the time was asking, "Is anyone new today?" So you'd go, "Yeah," and they would place you in a chair in front of Ramesh, because Ramesh was tired of talking to the people that'd been there for a while. It wasn't priming the pump, so you would sit there. So I was sitting there that day, and he started to use an example, and this is not truth. There's not a personal presence and an impersonal presence. Yes, there's just presence. Yeah, but he wanted to get something across. So he says, all right, Paul, do you back where you live, do you have a place to stay and stuff? Yeah, I do. And he says, okay, so you have a place to stay. When you go to work, do you forget that you have a place to stay when you're at work? Does being away from where you live and doing something else, does it convince you that you don't have a place to stay? I say no. It says if you stay overtime, does more time convince you that you don't have a place to stay? No. So if you work overseas, did that do it? If you had more space between you and your house, yeah. Would you forget that you had a place to stay? No. It's sort of like a knowledge that's different than other knowledges. Yes. It's there, doesn't get moved much. Yeah. I 828 Wilmac, whatever. Yes. He says, okay. So you would never, so here, this idea is you go somewhere and you believe you're a personal presence and you feel like you've left the impersonal presence. Yes. And you have to chant about the impersonal presence. You got to constantly remind yourself of the impersonal presence as the personal presence. And there's no personal presence, you see? So this idea of, and I had it with an event where in the Course in Miracles, when I was introduced to that, it became obvious after a bit of time that the body was seemingly the main obstruction or obstacle in a lot of ways. And there was a lesson, and the lesson in the course is a lesson every day. But I targeted this one lesson, which was, I'm not a body, I am free, for I am as God created me. Yes. And I would almost sort of chant it. I would read it and I'd really work it. And then I realized in about a week, the only thing that's going to chant it's not a body is a body identification. That which is not a body knows it's not a body. That which is taking itself to be a body. No, so surely it's a body, it's chanting, I'm not a body. So these things kept happening to me. And there was no going back. Like it says in one of the things they mention in Ramana about the message is you're already in the tiger's mouth, yes? Basically, it's a done deal. You've heard too much, yes, and you can't back out of the tiger's mouth. Basically, once you're that far in, you're going all the way, so to speak. Yeah. So this is sort of what happened, and the effects here was I lost interest in a lot of shit I used to be interested in. Yeah. I remember there was a magazine, a Buddhist magazine called Tricycle. Someone told me they still have it. Beautiful magazine, a lot of beautiful photos and everything. And they'd have little essays and a little bit of a satsang and then whatever, an opinion page. And this one time I was reading it, and this guy who was a famous Western meditation teacher, I'm not going to say who it is, I forgot actually. And he was talking about the strange phenomena he was having with all his older students. And what was that? He says all his older students were getting in touch with him and were saying, nothing the fuck's happened. Nothing's happened. So hearing that, I just pulled the fucking emergency brake on the spiritual bus because these people have went through a lot more work and effort than me, and they're giving me a message. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen is the greatest happening. Yeah. But when you're looking for something to happen, nothing's going to happen isn't good. That's no bueno. You want to have some evidence that there's change and you're moving and everything like that. The real truth, nothing ever happened is awesome, literally, because that means everything that you thought you did and that produced, let's say, a separation or a distance from you and what you are is just complete imagination. Yeah. So I pulled that thing, cancel my subscription to Tricycle, and you will really see the nakedness of the seeker when the seeking stops. Yeah. When you're not looking for when your light isn't constantly being projected forward and there's a pause and then it rests right here, you'll see the emperor with no clothes. Yes. You'll see the little guy behind the curtain. And the funny thing is, before you see the little guy behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, those explosions and everything had such an impact on you. Yeah, the noise and the explosions. Yes. But then you see the guy behind the curtain, he's very small, and then the explosions, the same explosions don't have the effect on you anymore. Do you see? The explosions don't have to stop. Yeah. You don't have to stop. The explosions are connected with the meaning you've given this guy behind the curtain. Yeah. It's a big, awesome dude. So the explosions are big and scary. When you see the author of the explosions as being small and meaningless, the explosions don't matter. Don't you see this in living? Instead of just constantly giving reality to explosions and trying to stuff your ears or something else, and all these ways of trying to cope with shit, it's, constantly trying to fit yourself around the stuff instead of seeing through the stuff. Yes. And this is what non-duality did with me. In the spiritual marketplace, I didn't run into tons of things. I ran into a few things. But there was a commonality in all of them. Obviously, me was thing. So maybe you were looking for the Buddha, then you were looking for Shiva, then you were looking for Jesus, whatever. But there was always you as the looker. Yeah. There's so much hint. Life is just giving us so many hints about what's going on. Yeah. So when the seeking stopped, because I was sitting in a room, I was sitting in this satsang once, and I knew I was never going to ask another question again. Just knew it because I saw the futility of it all. The great hallelujah is I'm never going to get it. Yeah, because I am it. See, so someone who's seeking for something as if it's a foreign event, when they arrive at that condition of I'm never going to get it, it's super frustrating and they're super bummed out. And after they get a little depressed, they just do more usually. Yes. But the same thing could be the hallelujah. I'm never going to get it because I am it. Yes. Same sentence, but completely different emphasis. This is the whole point. Non-duality isn't changing a thing. You just see things differently. That's all. Yeah. It doesn't change shit. Yeah. You see things differently without any thought or effort. You find out by seeing things differently that you're seeing things differently. You don't chant, I'm seeing things differently. You just don't. Yeah. Because usually that's sort of an antidote. You're seeing the same shit. So I'm seeing the same shit differently, but you're not. It does not working. But you'll come to an observation that something's working because it's working. If you call traveling lighter as this action figure working, then it's working. Yeah. So what happened? I don't know. I was just happily speaking in AA, and first we had the cassettes and then the CDs. You never have a name on it, we just have a date. And then I we had a we built a website in it, which never got off the ground because there were young people that would have to help us, and they'd always go out and get loaded, and we never did the website. It took about 2.5 years to finally get someone sober long enough to do the website. And so we just put the Zen Bitch Slap out. Yes. And hey, come on, Lola. Said we put the Zen Bitch Slap out, and I started to get invited by people other than in recovery. And then I saw, because I saw close up the addiction manifesting through drugs and alcohol, but then I could see it easily through spiritual practice. Yeah. Yeah. It was, and I really felt sad a lot because I had a lot more fun probably than they did. And you know, they can sign up for the 38th retreat and no one's probably going to say, hey, uh, don't you think you should stop doing retreats? You know, 37 of them. If that ain't enough, I don't think the 38th one's going to do it. Yeah. So at least in addiction, someone's going to stop you, usually, drug addiction. You're going to be intervened upon by the police or hospital or something. And then maybe that bottom will, something will occur, but the addiction in spirituality can be a slow drip, 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 drip. You know, you're getting seemingly enough to keep going. Yes, but that it's a real act of a bondage of self. So I started seeing that a lot. And then I would speak about that, and it would be a trip because I would speak about it for like 40 minutes. And then the first question would, could you speak about this idea of selfing? I just was been doing it for 40 minutes. What happened? And he said the person was sitting like 3 feet from me. You can't, maybe if you sit closer, you're going to get it. No, that's not how it works. So this happened and here we are in Nevada. Older dude. Yeah. Saw a lot. And then, so I did these, it was a very interesting when because uh, coming out of addiction and then being used, I could feel something come through, and I wasn't the oranges or the origin of it. Yes, it was just obvious from the get-go, something that I'm not was coming through. Yeah. I thought that I am, but this is I'm not also. Yeah. So something I'm not, a bigger I'm not than this I'm not, came through. Yeah. And it was just obvious. And these events what would they trigger? Misunderstandings, the misunderstandings that are just the sediment of your soil, so to speak, unless they get noticed. Yeah. The misunderstanding. As soon as I felt this power come through, I felt like I had to get better. Yeah. I had to be a better vessel for this, you know, to try to match what was coming through me. And I remember I used to do the dry dock in San Francisco every Monday night for like 16 years. Uh, I was corrected very quickly. Yeah, because I would be in tons of different conditions every Monday night, and it wouldn't matter what condition I was in concerning the condition inherently that we are. Yes, it's very, very valuable because a lot of people believe for them to see the condition, they got to get into a better condition. That's not, I don't see that to be true. I don't think there's a person anyway, but you know what I mean? It's if there's requirements, why not wait and hear if you get any? Don't come up with requirements, yes, when you haven't met whatever, because maybe there's nothing you need to do. As the great chapter in Course in Miracles, I need do nothing. Yes, yeah, I need do nothing. Yeah. Now you can't chant I need do nothing. That would be doing something. Yeah. It would be chanting I need do nothing. So the head will try to mimic hearing the message as a hearer of the message. This is what's beautiful. These things that go about all day without being noticed, with the understanding of non-duality, there will be lights put on these things, on these old ideas, the misunderstandings, how you think direction is this way when basically stillness could be the real key. Yeah. All this gets corrected, and you're just on an operating table seemingly as the action figure, and things are getting done. And then you come to a point where it expresses itself, and then you observe it, and you're like, wow, I can't fucking believe it. Yeah. And now you realize you see what you're not from what you are, instead of constantly looking for everything from what you're not. Even what you are, we're looking for it from what we're not. So it's just a simple negation of that misunderstanding. Yeah. There is seemingly here what we are and what we're not. We're on the camp of what we're not, the head. So it's mistaking what we are as what we're not. Yes. And it even has an idea of what we are, or a bigger what we are as from what we're not. And then it tries to seek and move towards the bigger authentic self, or the real self, or the radical self, or the expanded self, and like this. But no, yeah, this is because you are what you're looking for, and you're before the looking for anything. Yeah. And you can see that which is looking for what's looking ain't you. What you are is not looking for itself. What you're not is looking for it. And this is the beauty of this message, because you will see just the constant clinging and the trying to grab and get, based on the premise that it ain't what's looking. It's looking for it. Yeah. It wants to become something, but it has a lot of belief that it ain't. Yeah. So this whole movement, the wanting to get in or get out, see, the wanting to get out is the prison. You're not in a prison, but the wanting to get out all the time is the prison, in a sense. Yeah. Now, luckily, you're not in the prison. What you're not appears to be there. And therefore, this isn't about, this is going to be the true spiritual jailbreak. No, you lose interest in it all. And then you're here completely in Nevada, staring at a friend called Greg. That's it. Yeah. And as what's his name? I just read a thing, be still and know that I am God, or whatever. Or Ramana Maharshi would always say, just be still. Now, to most of us, when we hear that, it sounds like an order. Yeah, because we hear it from what we're not, which cannot be still. It's agitated. It is. The head's nature is agitation. It's not, if it arrives at peace unknowingly, it starts wondering, will it be there tomorrow? It can't enjoy peace because it's agitated. Yeah. It will tell you, oh, I will really enjoy peace. But when it arrives at peace, it starts thinking about shit. Yeah. You could be sitting in a meditation for 4 hours, and as long as the mind's going, you're like that spiritual warrior. Once you go into peace, immediately the head says you left the oven on or something. Yeah. It really gets you to get up. It likes the story that it would love peace, but it doesn't. Yes. Peace is no bueno. So look at it. Look at, in this little world of spirituality, do you believe the word awakening has brought more heaviness than relief to people that have heard about it? Yes, I do. I believe the what we're not, hearing the word awakening has caused more anxiety and agitation with that word. And then the supreme was an enlightenment. Enlightenment, one of the definitions of it itself is the cessation of all suffering. What happens when what you're not hears about enlightenment? It suffers. It feels like it's got to start another race. And then it's looking around. That person can't be enlightened. He hasn't gone to as many meetings as I have. I kiss so many fucking feet. It goes on and on. So the whole idea of peace agitates the head. Yes, don't you? It's, how many examples do you need? After a while, it's like beating a dead horse. Yeah, yeah. So that's was happening. And then we just went on this run. It's now, I don't know. That's why I'm getting darker and darker things, because I'm aging, right? Every satsang. Yes. Yeah. So that's what we got. That's the only thing, is basically nothing, literally. The emphasis is what it's all about. Yeah. Seeing, the event of seeing, what gets emphasized, an idea that there's a seer. Yes. At the expense of what? The seeing. So the seeing is the event. What does the head do? It emphasizes its made up idea called the seer at the expense of the sense of seeing, which would be presence. Yes. The seeing is happening and only happening in this present moment. Yes. So here we go. How much do you need to know? Do you believe you want to hear something about the head from the Course in Miracles? The brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. Right? Seems like the brain is interpreting this event, doesn't it? It does. And what's its agenda? Does it have one, or is it pure objective? It does. It's not purely objective. Its agenda is to see everything as it pertains to the body. There you go. Yeah. Do you need 8,000 examples why not to trust it? I mean, all you need is that. If what you're not is represented as a body, and that which is informing you and interpreting this life is taking all that information and using it to pertain to the body, yeah, the only way you're going to think about spirit is as a body. And look at the words we use. What's a spiritual path? What takes a path? Did you ever see a spirit on a path? Who goes to the top of the mountain? A body does. The spirit's already at the top of the mountain, in the mountain, around the mountain, under the mountain. The journey to the top of the mountain can only be seen from a body point of view. Yes. So any idea of what you are gets translated into something what you're not can become down the road. And I'm telling you, a body isn't going to become spiritual. No fucking way. It's a body, a non-existent thing. Have you ever seen someone you knew while alive and then go to the funeral and an open casket and see the body without that spirit in it? You see the truth of it the whole time. A non-existent thing was taken to be an existent thing. Then death occurs, and now that isn't being taken to be an existent thing, and you see the fact of it. It's a non-existent thing. Yeah, there you go. So I feel satsang satsang is like a match. You've got all the wood, you got all the kindling. It's a match to light it. It doesn't, you have enough examples. They've just never been put together. Yeah. And the non-duality understanding will put it together, and then you'll see shit. You don't need much more. Yes. Yeah. You've been cooked hundreds of times. You don't need to get cooked anymore. You can see it. Yeah. You can see, just like the statement in recovery. Very important statement if you're in recovery, very important. And that is first, and because recovery is a linear process in the action figure world, yes? First is the most important point. And first, you got to quit playing God. Wow. Okay. When I heard that, while thinking I was playing God, I felt I had to knock it off. I got to knock off playing God. Completely a mistake, complete misunderstanding. Yeah. I was never, nor will I ever be that which is playing God. That which is playing God is not me, or not what I am. It's the head. Yes. So what does quit playing God look like? Does it mean that thing stops playing God? No, I lose interest in it. So before I would be listening to what that which was playing God said. Now I hear sometimes that which what is playing God. I hear it, but I don't listen to it. Yes. It's still playing God. I realize if you wait for this to come around, it's just going to go around and around and around. It can't get it. Self can't get out of self. It doesn't understand that. Yeah. And a body identification sees everything as a body. It just does. Yeah. This is the value of recognizing it. You won't spend any time trying to change something that can't be changed sufficiently to truly change. Can't. It's programmed. Yes. Hallelujah. Yeah. So anyone has anything? Oh, I'll do this one point because I'm happy to see Greg and I want to install a certain idea. Yes. As Jesus says, we're in this world, but not of this world. So you have to admit in this world, time plays a factor. Yes. This calendar's made of it. There's days and months and hours, AM, PM. Yes. There's a lot of things put on this idea of time. Okay. I believe in time, there's a mental process that's the quickest process. And that is the mental process of claiming what consciousness brings us into contact with, claiming it and using it to reinforce its story, which is seeing is the only importance of seeing is it implies the seer. So there's a claiming of seeing, and then suddenly you're cast as the seer. Yeah. Seeing, claimed, the idea of seer, the seer gets presupposed, now it's you seeing. Yeah. Hearing, claiming, presentation of the hearer gets presupposed, now you're the hearing. Yeah. On and on and on and on. Thinking, you're the thinker. All this. Yes. I do not believe because you start as a body and consciousness. That's the mix, yes? You're conscious not only of bodies, but as a body, seemingly. Yes? Yeah. That happens after where we are not at the point of time, beginning of time. We're a couple of ticks later, yeah? And when we become conscious of this event as this body, we are at a manufactured point. The head has made something so that it isn't so, and we live as if it's so. Yes? There's no becoming a self, but the head says you already are one. That's what it does. You assume the assumptions in place. Yeah? It's like the building block of what you call your life. Yeah? And I humbly believe if this is going to trigger what it triggers, this selfing, and then the projection of the selfing as a self. Yeah. So this is simple. I've got it so many times. It was a novel idea to people in the early days, selfing. And then they would get something and then they would call me and they go, man, I really got the idea of selfing. And I've been selfing all day. They didn't get the idea of selfing. Yeah. Yes. The selfing happened, and then the one that was seen as doing it all day was the presupposed idea. Or I've been selfing and it's driving me crazy. No, that's not exactly what's happening. Yes, yes. There's the selfing implies that there's a self to be driven crazy. And then that's presupposed, and that self, complete imagination, now becomes the doer of the selfing. It's insane. Yeah. So that happens before anything else. And I believe in the gunslinger, in the OK Corral gunfight, no matter how fast a process you try to use is going to be outdrawn by this. But that which is not of time cannot lose that gunfight. Yeah. And we are not of time, as Jesus says. You're in this world, but you're not of this world. So from the ofness that we are, we're before time, so we can see the manufacturing of you, not from the manufactured you. We can see it from before the manufacturing of you. Yes? Not as the product, but before. We see the conveyor belt, and then there's no fucking product. There's no you. You see it. So now you have now seen or become aware of what you're not. Yeah? It can have a huge impact. it could have such a huge impact. It may bring us form of lightness to the last day to your life, for the last 60, 50, 40 years, on and on. Yeah. Just that knowing. Yeah. Because nothing changes. You do not, as a you do not outgun the you. You recognize the pointlessness of it because you see it from before it. Finally. Yeah. And so here's this process. That which is not a process is the before. Then I humbly feel the quickest process in time is the manufacturing of this idea of you as the doer, thinker, feeler, taster, toucher. Yes? And I believe that causes a lot of angst in other situations. And then we seek relief from that. Yes? But so we do other processes, but not knowing it, that first process's idea, that crazy idea of you, gets shot into all the other processes. So basically, it's all the other processes are captured in a net of self can't get out of self. You're starting at the thing you want to get out of. It doesn't work. Yeah. And so, and the belief that this process is going to change the first process is baloney. There's hierarchy in time, and the first one influences the ones that come after. The afters may not influence at all this one, and especially the infection of self is going to continue on. Yes? And then certain people believe certain activities are more noble than others, and they're exempt from this, but it's not. You can see spiritual addiction. You can see addiction in spirituality, just as easy as you can see it in drug addicts and alcohol and drinking. You can. Yeah. So this is great. You can't make a move. It's all, you spent it all. You got to sit there and you could, maybe you'll have divine arthritis and you won't be able to bend down to pull your spiritual pants up, and you'll be relieved. Yes, you'll fucking finally be relieved. Yeah. And that relief isn't contingent on maintenance. It's a relief beyond understanding, or like a peace that passes understanding. You can understand this peace, but it passes the mental understanding for sure. You can't get it. You cannot get it because it's the wanting to get it is the part. Yeah. That thing that always wants to get it is not us, you see? If you are reality and most of your head is looking for it, you mustn't be most of your head. Even if it says, I think I was reality at once, but I fucked up and I'm hoping to be real tomorrow, you're not buying it because you're rooted in being ourselves reality. Now, being isn't determined. There's no determining factor other than that present tense verb of being, which overrides wasing and willing. Yes? Yeah. So being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Here we are, Mia, Greg, Paul, everyone else here. Yeah. What we've been masquerading as has been doing just that. It's where is it standing on? It's standing on reality, obviously. You and I give everything all the meaning it has. False evidence appearing real has to appear real to appear real. It has to appear real to me. My reality has to agree with the false evidence for it to fucking appear real. It cannot appear real unless it appears real to me. Yes? Yeah. So what's the only requirement? The only requirement is to see the unreal from the real instead of looking for the real from the unreal. Simple correction. It actually would, once it's made, it was never needed to be made. Nothing's ever really changed anything. Yeah. You never separated so that you have to merge. None of this. It's, yeah. Humbly. Yeah. So yes, thank you. Thank you. Now that I'm getting older, I need people, so I don't tell them, my success is no one shows up. I gotta the action figure. All right. Anyone?
Paul, Heather
Yeah,
would like, I think Heather would like to say something.
she
Hi,
would
Heather.
like to. All right.
Thanks,
All
Heather.
right.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much. And I love that you're talking about real and unreal. One of the things that I so appreciated was when you said, if this were real, it wouldn't disintegrate so quickly. I mean, the last moment is long gone. I mean, how it's so flimsy that it goes. And then you talk about how we're the dreaming and that it's not real. So my question is, it seems quite real. And well, I'll be listening, and I'll be like, but so I feel like I'm missing a step or something like,
No,
is
you're
it
not.
real?
No, you're
What's
not, honey. It's always seems real. That doesn't make it real. Yeah, it's appearing to be true or false to the mechanism or the action figure. Don't worry about it. Just know the underlying condition. Yes, it's sort of like the surface of the ocean is going to be choppy, and you're never going to get any reflection in it because it's always agitated. Yes, but the bottom is calm and still. Now, when you're in the act of floating around in the surface, you can still have the sense that you are of the bottom. Yes. So this is the thing. Of course, it looks as real can be. It's meant to. Yeah.
Can I pivot back to the not real with a tool?
No,
Mm.
no. Just sit there naked for a while. I don't mean literally. Just see there's an urge to move. Just don't fall for it. Just see what happens. Then when it does move, you'll see it's not you. Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. It's like if you intellect, a lot of faith is put in the intellect. Yeah. So people want to understand stuff. They believe if their head could wrap itself around it, they would grok it or know it. That's going to be super frustrated by non-duality. That's the point, because there's too much reliance on that reasoning or that intellect, and it's got to exhaust itself, or you're going to have to notice it quicker. Yes, but you're going to. So when knowing would be almost like if you see those things at the amusement parks, they have a glass little holder and there's all these bunnies and chipmunks and furry things, and there's a big crane and it has only 3 arms or 2 arms, let's say, and it goes down, and you're sure the big crane, you have a lot of faith in it. It's got a huge mouth. I'm going to grab that bunny. It can't be that heavy. And yet you go down there and then you think you have it and it usually drops off. Yeah. When are you going to get it? It's in that case, it's only costing you quarters, but it could build up. But you don't, yeah, yeah. So of course, obviously, the object or the sort is the bunny, but the real understanding is seeing the equipment trying to get it. Yeah. So you see all the ways your head is trying to get this message is like seeing the crane failing at grabbing the bunny. It's great news. The bunny is superfluous. It doesn't matter. You could change whatever is sought, but it's the seeking where the value lies because you'll see it. Yeah. Yes, you'll see it. And it will fail. And then that that failing won't trigger doing more of it and trying to get better, but it'll be a realization that's going to relieve you of a lot. Yes. Because then the reliance on it's going to move somewhere, and you're going to experience the effects of it, and you're going to observe it's moving, but you had no You didn't bring it about or cause it or anything. And it's, I mean, let's call the body a hose, yes? And the water and the spirit is water, yes? Yes, yeah. Yeah. Most people think they're the hose and they want to have more spirit flowing. And then there'll be a point where you'll see the spirit and you're not the hose. Yes? And that shift is going to cause a lot of effects. Yeah. Instead of looking at the hose of water idea as you're the hose, you're the water or whatever, you're going to see it in a different way. Yes? And it's going to make more sense to you. And it will probably bring in an ease and comfort that you weren't able to maintain or control or manage. Yeah. And I'm completely in Novato, California. Completely, like 100%. Completely. I can hear the dog next to me, the breathing, moving her chest. Yeah. Like all this. I'm not trying to do any of that. It's readily available. It comes with being here. And the being here you hope to arrive at from the being there is right where the being there is. There's no need to arrive. You're already here. Yes? Yeah. 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 You don't understand. You're wanting to arrive is actually playing the role of an imagined departure. You don't see it. This place is like Bizarro World. You remember that comic book? Everything was opposite. This is what duality is like. Yeah. What person believes? I like the Course a lot. I like what that happened with me through rubbing up with the Course. But it says this statement. So if you walk up to anyone right now, hey, do you know you're in the active denial of what you are? Probably no one's going to say that. They're going to 7-Eleven or something. Yeah, or whatever. But it says actively denying what you are. What? I don't feel like I'm doing anything, yet they're describing there's an action going on. Actively denying what you are and firm in faith in the something else that your head has made to be yourself. Yeah, you see it? How many people see the active denial of what they are? They just call it being Paul. But actually, quote unquote, being Paul is an active denial of what you are. Yeah. Yeah. And it gets more, it's more of an active denial of what you are when you try to find what you are from what you're not. That's more faith in what you're not than ever. Yes. And then, so of course, that equation fails. What do most of us do? We do more. Yeah. We change from the Kabbalah to Buddhism and then throw some Tantra in there or something like that. Yeah. Then the retreats start becoming like vacations. So you get something out of it. Kayaking in Costa Rica, you'll sit for like an hour and a half instead of 13 hours a day. So it's like a vacation. And yet you can call it, I was on a spiritual retreat. Just go on a fucking vacation. Why do you have to give it a name? Yeah. I'm I'm mindfully kayaking. Oh, great. All right. This is insane. So you lose interest in this. You do. And the requirements drift away. Yeah. And all the prerequisites of a maintenance plan drift away. Yeah. And you come to have faith in the statement, being ourselves reality. Being ourselves reality. Not knowing what that is, not having any idea, but a credible faith in it. Yeah, because you're so obvious you're not something. It is. You don't need a major investigation to realize the flimsiness of this event. Yes? Yes. You don't need anything to prop up the being ourselves reality. It's like your hope for something to be true matches the truth of it. And that's a galvanizing faith. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. I find great solace in it, tell you the truth. Incredible. I used to have to try to do a lot of stuff to try to get something. I've lost interest in getting something. The real liberation is from the need to be liberated. That which you're not is constantly needs to be liberated. We think it needs to be liberated, but it's from, yeah. The need, you're liberated from the need to be liberated. Yeah. Because what you are doesn't need to be liberated. What you're not is dying for it. Yeah. But self can't get out of self. Yeah. An imaginary place can't leave an imaginary place and go somewhere real. You just see you never left real, and that the place you thought was real is imaginary. That's what happens. Yeah. The way you see it changes. And it's bingo. And then there's a reverberation of that ringing, of that bell, a reverberation, and there's no pulling the rope. The bell just keeps ringing. Yes, it's like an eternal unspoken yes, so to speak. You hear it more like an echo, I feel. Yeah. And you know me, I've been here for a long time doing the same thing. Yeah, I don't think somebody sent me something from 16 years ago. It sounded like the one I did on Tuesday, because I'm not doing them. And when I was embarking on this thing, I really believed I should get better. And it told me just read Yankee blogs and go to thrift stores. And I followed that religiously for now the last 33 years. Pretty much. I used to love going to temples to see the Buddhas. Yeah, I do. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? What were we speaking of? It was our lovely magician, Heather. Yes. I know you want to find a way to trigger something, so just look at it nakedly. Don't give it any help, and don't shoo it away. Just let it see. It's going to be so awkward and so embarrassed. It's sticking out like a sore thumb. It's great. It's great. Yeah. This is the beauty of non-duality. A lot of practices does not bring up the misunderstandings with such clarity as non-duality does. And you will go on practicing and then not even ruffle that sediment at the bottom. You won't, yes? But you just hear non-duality, and man, it puts a pause on your ass. Pause. It does. And you start liking it. Yeah, yeah. Because that wanting to go needs to be interrupted, yeah? Because your true setting is be still, literally. Yeah. But the head is like wanting to go. Yeah. Yeah. It can't wait for the red light to change and just barrel through something only to meet another red light, and so on and so forth. Yes. Every there you arrive at becomes a here that you left. Every fucking one. Every there that you were trying to ease the uncomfortability of the here, when you arrive there, it's here. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Anyone else?
Yes, Annette,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Annette. All right. Come on in, Annette.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Paul. How's it going? Hey, everybody. So a few things are going. Okay. So being ourselves reality. Be still and know I'm God. Quit playing God. They all sound the same to me just now when I was something I feel like I retrospectively sort kind of noticed a pattern was my tendency to look for common threads. Like it's just a thing that this head does sort of, is when I'm hearing it differently now, you know, things change, have always been changing, you know. But yeah, so like be still because that's what I am. That that's what God is. And quit playing God because why would you play God when you are God?
Well, remember, what's playing God isn't you. So,
Correct. Yes. This is hard for me to even put on words. Yes.
quitting. Quitting is losing interest in this case.
Okay.
Likely.
Yes.
But you end
Losing
at
interest.
places that stop.
Say that
Certain
again.
things have happened to me with this message that the idea that the new idea that came in became a solid foundation for now 20 something years. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of things came to their end, or yeah, pretty cool. I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. This was a trip. So in AA, they talk about you can have a God of your own understanding. Yes, trying to make the gateless gate even wider, so let people in, because a lot of people obviously have been straddled with and have fought other people's idea of God. Yes, so it's a touchy topic for some people. So they would say, just have a God of your own understanding. Okay, so I heard that, came in 1988, heard it. And after a month or two, maybe even less, I realized I don't want to have a God of my own understanding. It's going to be a very small God. You know what I mean? And it was like, really, it just went so fast. And then I had a sense of, because there's a joy in trying to translate when you're feeling stuff come through. Yeah. And so I try to translate it, and I came to this thing that the higher power is always available at all times, right where I am, with no requirement necessary. So now, instead of having a higher power of my own understanding, I have a higher power of its own understanding. Yeah. That has never changed now in the last 35 years. Never changed. End of story, bingo, period, move on. Yeah, I've had tons of these. Yeah. Same thing with hearing non-duality. It brings you to a certain point, and I'll tell you something, things stop. They do. Because a lot of things you believe keep going on and on are finite. They are. And you're going to go past them. And they're going to stop. That road will never be traveled again, everything like this. So I humbly believe there are things you're going to hear and you're going to come to that are going to be a new beginning and an end of others. Yeah, big time, big time. And I think non-duality and AA have brought a lot of those effects in my life. Much more flamboyant because of the action figure drama of being an addict and all this shit. Yes, in the movie it would look much more glamorous the way it happened, but non-duality is a beautiful silent yeah. So a lot I could round. There's another one in AA. It was a tradition, and I was speaking in Dallas. I was young in AA, and there was an older guy up there explaining this tradition and it was a loving God expressing itself through our group conscience. And we are but servants. And I got the way he meant that, I got it, and I've always had it that way ever since. Yeah. So, right, I believe in this satsang, there's a loving presence that's expressing itself through our group conscience. That's satsang to me. Yeah. So I had, that was the first, third year, maybe for 34 years, no budging. It was over. Yeah. Every time I read their tradition, that same sense comes over me. So I think there can be finality in time, quite a lot, with this message. Yeah, I do. Yeah. So I don't know, I just went there, that's all.
I think that's is the idea, is that if it's an idea, but it's the timelessness of it. It's all of those three remarks to me don't sound like anything of time, having to do with time.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
And
it's like
there-
a sensed commonality through them.
Yes, well, that's the point. That's see, the words are not, in this case, the exhaust of the words is what you're really getting, not the vehicle of the word itself, but the exhaust
Thank you.
out.
Yes.
Yeah. Satsang galvanized. There's a power in satsang. It's
Yeah.
not about in the individuals. The setting produces a sense of it's easy to touch a presence in satsang. It's easy. It almost takes a shape. It just becomes obvious. Yeah, that's why you probably keep coming back. It's nourishing in some way. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hon.
More than anything that I've come across. So
Well, there you go. Well, it's we'll be here tomorrow. Great. This is Amelia, the love. This is great, an old friend. Hey, all right. So, anyone else?
The Meryl had her hand up.
Meryl,
I'm not sure. She might change her mind.
going once,
Okay.
going twice.
Maybe more later. I want to say I don't really know what's going on, so I don't really know how to articulate, but I am the more peace, I do not feel relieved. I'm really grateful to have these talks because I for now need this. I feel great and open and calm here and for periods after, but I then need it again, and I'm grateful that I can come here. As I experience a piece here with this viewing, I feel less and less willing to do certain things in my life, and I would say even most distressingly in my program, less and less willing to do. There are a lot of details, a lot of activities and actions involved in my program, and I guess I don't really need to even talk about program. It could just be in my life. I'm just having trouble being willing to do some of these things that never really seemed, they just don't seem important to me. Certain details. And to be part of my program, I do all those details. So I'm having trouble showing up. And I'm not saying I trust this motivation to not do these things. I'm of course, anybody, if I ever speak about this, which I rarely do, people just say, that can't be trusted. You must do all these things. And I'm like, I'm really chafing against that right now. And hearing you tonight, the reason I put my hand down is that it just occurred to me, like, I can still do all those things. I can do all those things, even if I don't think they're necessary things. And I can do them in a peace, in a stillness, and just do them. That seems like it might be something I could do,
Bingo. That's not bad. Yeah.
For now, that does seem like the most peaceful thing. So I'll get back to you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the head is strange, you know. It looks one way or the other, and then something plops in from somewhere else. Isn't that beautiful? Because you were going somewhere, and then, oh, I could do that and do it without as much meaning. Yes, that's cool.
Because I don't want to, I don't think, I don't want to leave what I'm doing now. But I also don't feel like a joiner, and I don't want other people telling me what my program is. And I seem to get that a lot. So I'm just wrestling with it. And, but I think I could just do what I do quietly and just do the things to check them off and know they're done. And even if I don't believe in them, and then just show up. And for now, that's where I am, and I'm grateful. So thank you.
There you go. Yeah. You didn't, nothing went in, just something just came out. It was there. There you go. Yes. We had this guy once. It was funny. In AA, I knew this guy, and he had many, many, many years. And he started sharing at this meeting that he had met this woman who didn't drink, and she was in the wine business. And he was starting to go out with her and all her friends, and it looked so great. And he really liked her. And in his little head, he could only see either, you know, I gotta not see her, or I'm gonna or drink. And I said, well, wait a minute, bro. Maybe why don't you do some service concerning other people, and maybe you'll get another view of it, because it's not either I split from her or I get loaded. No, there could be another possibility in there. Yeah. So thank you. We just saw out of two, the third thing hatched. It was pretty cool. Thanks. Yes. And yeah, stay.
Yeah, and I will. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else?
I don't see any other hands up, Paul. Thank you so much for a beautiful evening.
Yes, thank you. It's not even over yet here.
Nope.
It's a
Thank you
beautiful
for a
evening.
beautiful talk.
Hey, love. Nice, Kathleen. Yeah. Yes. I'll see you soon too, alive. It'll be nice. Not
Yeah.
that soon.
Yep.
David from down under. Nice. Always a pleasure, Dave. Kenneth. Al, I'm going to call Al Gradas. I'll just call you Al for now. Nice to see you, bro. Thanks for coming back. Dennis, Annette, Morrow, William Stamps, Ernie, Chris in Lexington. We got Teresa. She looks very comfortable. John K, as always. Miss Harris, Susan Harris, Globetrotter. Chris H, Diane R, Alan Olson, the man who never got it. Kerry, Christy, always nice to see Chris. I can't go to the other page, so I'm going to say goodbye to everyone I can't see. Hey, thank you so much. And tomorrow we have the recovery meeting, 10:30 Pacific time. And yes, as the world turns on satsang. Thank you. See you. See you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Paul.